We're going to go ahead and put together what we like to call Desi chai or Pakistani chai. And here's your ingredients that you're going to need: whole milk, water, black tea, and optionally some cardamom. Let's talk about which black tea to use. I use Tapo Danedar. It's made from a company out of Karachi in Pakistan. Definitely a good one to go with. It's available at any Indian grocery. You can buy it on the internet as well. Next thing, let's talk about ratios, milk and water specifically for the first one. There's no hard and fast rules. The easiest one to go with, in my opinion, is 1-to-1. Every unit of water, you use the same unit of milk. In my opinion, you shouldn't use less milk than water, and you can certainly use more milk. Probably 2-to-1 is the ceiling that you want to do that. So here we're going to use 12 ounces of water, 12 ounces of milk. That'll give us 3 servings of chai. All right, I know it's hard to see on video, but let's go and fill this up to the 12-ounce mark. The reason I like to go 1-to-1, really for 2 reasons. One is it's the easiest one to remember. And secondarily, milk is pretty expensive these days, so $4 for milk, $1 for water, gallon. You might as well make it equal. It's going to taste great regardless. All right, so you want to go ahead and turn on a saucepan over high heat. And we're just going to drop the water in there. Let's go ahead and wait for the water to heat up, and then we're going to add our ingredients. First sugar, then some cardamom, and then the tea. The ratio that I'll use here is 1 tablespoon of sugar for every 6 ounces of liquid. So this will be 24 ounces of liquid. We're going to use 4 tablespoons of sugar. For tea, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon for every 8 ounces. So again, 24 ounces of liquid, that's going to be 3 teaspoons or a single tablespoon. Here's the cardamom, guys, and again, purely optional. I like to add it. Just gives you a little added flavor in the chai. So this is what we do. On the other side of the world, we use just a big rock and crush it. Obviously, use any mechanism that you have at your disposal. And just go ahead and pulverize it as best as you can. And then you're going to just drop that in the water. Let's go ahead and move it into the water. Water is slowly rising in temperature. Let's go ahead and measure out our milk. Again, same ratio as the water, 12 ounces of water, and we're going to use 12 ounces of milk. Definitely want to use whole milk, guys. Now let's go ahead and add our sugar. 1 tablespoon of sugar for every 6 ounces of liquid. So again, this is going to be 12 ounces of water, 12 ounces of milk, 24 ounces total. Divided by 6 is 4 tablespoons. Let's go ahead and do that. Now let's add our black tea. 1 teaspoon for every 8 ounces of liquid. 24 ounces of liquid equals an entire tablespoon of black tea. We get the tea nice and boiling. Let's go ahead and get a ladle and mix up the liquid. Get the sugar, tea, cardamom incorporated pretty well. Do this for about 10 seconds. I like to put the lid back on the saucepan, let the steam circulate in there. As it boils, I think this adds a little bit more potency in the chai, a little bit more flavoring. Usually leave this on there for about 10 seconds or so. Let's go ahead and take off the lid, and now it's time for the last ingredient, which is our milk. 12 ounces of milk. Let's go ahead and just pour it right on top. Nice and slow. Let's go ahead and put the lid back on the saucepan. and wait for the chai to start boiling again. You definitely want to keep an eye on the chai at this stage because, as you guys know, milk, once it starts boiling, it has the tendency to rise and it will pour over through the lid and onto your range. So you want to be carefully watching this. It shouldn't take more than 3 minutes for it to boil back again. And let's go ahead and wait for that. All right, guys. So this whole time we've been on high heat. So that's what we've been doing from the very start when we put the water in. You can see kind of the milk getting bubbly. It's just on the brink of rising up. As soon as it starts rising, that's when you want to turn off the heat and go ahead and stir the chai. All right, at this point, let's go ahead and turn off the heat. And right before it boils over the edges of the saucepan, just go ahead and get our ladle and mix it up. For all intents and purposes, the chai is done at this stage. You can go ahead and serve it. I just like to mix it up a little bit more. It's scalding hot, so this doesn't necessarily affect the heat. It's a brilliant sand color. That's what you're looking for. Half ratio of water, half ratio of milk. 1-to-1. This is 24 ounces of chai altogether. Again, we used 4 tablespoons of sugar. 1 tablespoon for every 6 ounces of liquid. It's not going to be an overbearing sweetness to it. If you like it even more sweeter, I would recommend obviously increasing the 6-to-1 ratio. Make it 5-to-1. But just be careful, it can get really sweet. Chai is definitely a drink that has to have some sweetness to it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be overbearing sweet like a sweet tea here in America. All right, so let's go ahead and pour the tea. I like to use a strainer just in case any of the loose leaf tea comes through while I'm pouring. Okay. All right. There you have it. Pakistani Desi chai.